Baseball is dead.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, thank you, Joe. Thank you. I asked if you were ready, and you didn't disappoint. There you are.
Always ready.
Yeah, always ready. Dallas free Thursday. Gonna let our hair down. Gonna let that freak flag fly on this Thursday episode. I was saying before we came on that surprisingly, way more topics than I thought we were gonna have from a 24-hour turnaround on a Thursday pod. But I wanted to start, if you guys don't mind, with my experience last night with the Savannah Bananas. Some of the thing, how familiar are you guys with the Savannah Bananas?
I see them all the time on TikTok.
Yeah, I would say like firmly familiar.
Okay. Are you familiar with the rules?
Most of them.
No.
Okay. So if there's people listening, I'm sure that there's some people listening that aren't familiar with the rules. I'm not going to do like a full breakdown of the rules, but I will say this. Fans being able to catch a foul ball in the stands and that counts as an out is fucking electric. Like last night, Doug Flutie was pitching. Doug Flutie came in and I forget the situation, but there were runners on. And ball goes into the stands, and a fan made the catch for Doug Flutie to get out of the jam. Place went absolutely nuts. They were telling me about another game. I think I want to say it was like in Tulsa, something like that, where a 15-year-old made a catch for the final out for the Savannah Bananas to win the game, like the whole game. Because like what they do is like you have to win every inning. Like you get a point if you win the inning. And this 15-year-old kid made the catch to win the game. And like they took him out of the stands and they ran around the ballpark with him. It's absolutely electric. So before the game, I got to interview some of the players. I got to interview the owner, Jesse, who I compared him to Vince McMahon. Like he is just a visionary when it comes to this stuff. Like the goals that he has and the way that he's sort of evolved banana ball. I learned very quickly, do not call it baseball. It is banana ball. It's a different game. It's very much based on the game of baseball, but it is not baseball. It is banana ball. The different aspects and just how much detail goes into the fan experience. Like, for example, it's general admission. It's like $25. I mean, it's sold out. Like this isn't like an ad or anything. You can't get a ticket unless you get it from like a secondary like market or whatever. But it's $25 a ticket, very affordable for families, but it's general admission because they want everyone there early. Like everyone got there at 5:00. The game was at 7, and they had just had this sea of people waiting to be let into the game when they opened up the gates at 5. And it was just like, all right, we're open. And then just the floodgates open and everyone sprints to the good seats that they want to get. And then before the game starts, it's just like a 2-hour party inside the park before the game even starts. The whole thing was I had high expectations because I think like I have been observing Savannah banana ball from afar. I had not been to a game. We were talking about this the last episode with Dallas, where like we kind of had to choose between going to Savannah for a Bananas game or doing the Field of Dreams game the summer of 21. Obviously, we did the Field of Dreams game because it was something we could get sponsored, and it was a whole thing. We had people come out, and just playing on the Field of Dreams movie site was awesome. Like that's a once in a lifetime type deal. But lo and behold, during the COVID year, that's when they introduced the party animals, which is so there's plenty of comparisons to the Harlem Globetrotters, right? Like it's like, oh, like they do all these tricks. Like I tweeted the video the other night of the Bananas center fielder who caught a fly ball while mid backflip. Like they do crazy shit like that. But it's not the Harlem Globetrotters because the Globetrotters always won. This is not scripted. Like the Bananas lost last night. Like I want to say they've played each other north of 50 times, and the Bananas are 2 games over 500. Like it's very like they distribute the rosters for competitive balance, and like that's what they get. So the
I might have
games
to
are
throw
very
together a team myself. Take these fucking, take a shot.
That would be great.
Make my own
Team
Savannah
Baseball's dead.
Banana
We throw
team.
together a little team. Johnny Damon was there last night. He had that's the cool thing too, is you could have a walk-off in every inning. Johnny Damon had like a walk-off in the second inning for the Bananas. So it was pretty cool. Like they had Johnny Damon was there, Gordy Gronkowski was there, and then Doug Flutie had one of the signature moments of the night. But what you don't realize unless you're there, I was down in like the third base. I was on the party animals side of the third base dugout. These players, they care. So it's like, yeah, they're dancing around and like in between innings, like they're up on the dugout and they're dancing and like they're very, very fan involved. But if they strike out, they come back in the dugout and like smash their head. Like they're mad. Like they want to win. Like they actually like compete very hard. And then the other cool thing was that after the game was over, well, first of all, when they let fans in, the players were all in the concourse, like greeting the fans that were coming in. And then after the game, I would say 70%, maybe north of that, the fans stayed. So it's like they exit the ballpark, and then outside of the ballpark, all the players did like photographs, autographs, and then there was just a sea of people outside the ballpark. There was like a band playing. It was just like a party after the game. Like in terms of fan experience, I've never seen anything like it. I've never seen anything like it. It was crazy. And then the other thing that I learned, and this will speak to Joe in the TikTok world, is that not only do the Savannah Bananas have more followers on TikTok than any other MLB team, but the Party Animals, like their secondary team, have more followers on TikTok than any MLB team. So like that's where they're at in terms of like fan interest and exposure. It's crazy. Like it is I had high expectations, like I said, but it blew past that. Like far blew past that.
My reaction to both what you're describing right now and my experience with them, to the extent that I've seen it on the internet, is it just feels like an adult version of like that great experience that you got at youth outdoor camp. You know what I mean? Whatever your version of that was. And we all have great memories, and I don't need to talk about mine, but like it's got that mixed with like, did you ever see the movie Hook?
No.
With Joey? No?
No.
All right. It's about Peter Pan, essentially.
Okay. That was
like
a boxing movie, but
Captain Hook.
I get.
Okay. And it's just like if they play a game of baseball in Never Never Land or whatever, and it's like that mixed with day camp is what, for an adult, of course, or a professional, like a professional, basically. I understand that they care about the games and that it's like their attitude about it is different, but the visual experience of watching it, you know, because of not only of the foul ball stuff that you talked about, which I think is like, if we're going to move outside of the realm of Major League Baseball and, you know, my love for that and the rules that I appreciate, like, I think that's one of the all-time great gimmicks that I've ever seen at any level of any sport. But it's like, it's not just that, because you get like correct me if I'm wrong on any of these, but it's like you get the unlimited challenges, and they aren't really limited to anything. Like you can just challenge until you're wrong, basically. And like that sort of has like a carnival element to it, I think. I love the steal first base thing, like on a wild pitch or a pass ball or something like that, for the vibe that they're trying to go for. That's like the first thing that struck me, is like, yo, this is like backyard. This is camp. This is, you know, all that sort of good shit. So I think it's great. I think it's very cool that they're out there innovating. And, you know, you can appreciate this as like its own distinct thing from, I think people casually associate it with baseball for obvious reasons, because that's like the entry point base. That's the model. But I think you almost appreciate it as two entirely separate things, you know, like baseball and whatever. I know they say banana ball, but whatever this is.
It's banana ball.
Yeah. It's banana ball, bro. Uh, the other thing too, like it felt like a fever dream because it was from not to get into too much detail, but from the way that I've been treated in the Red Sox dugout this year compared to being in the Savannah Bananas dugout, I was like, what do you mean nice to see you? What do you mean nice to meet you? What do you mean you want to get a picture with me? What? Like that was
well,
I
there's
felt
a
like
difference. There is a difference between the Savannah Bananas and the Boston Red Sox. A little bit.
Well, that's what I'm saying is like I think when you're a professional baseball player and the with money comes ego and they're playing 162 games and like there's a lot on the line and yada yada. But I mean, some like Major League Baseball players, and I gave a shout out to the Colorado Rockies because that team was as friendly as the Savannah Bananas were. Like everyone was super nice. Everyone came up and said hi. But like when you're around certain teams, they just walk around you like you're a fucking cooler. Like they look at you like you're furniture, like you're subhuman. But like these guys, everyone was super super nice. Came up, said hi. They're talking to you, which just kind of like reminds you of like like yeah, like some big leaguers are 30 plus years old and they're grown men with families and kids and whatever, but when you go back to the root of playing baseball and why everyone loved baseball, like you were all kids playing the game and you're just, I don't know. I think it's just one of those things that it was nice. It was nice to feel welcome. I'll just say that. It was nice to feel welcome. That was a nice pivot from how I felt at Fenway this year.
Well, good. You deserve to feel welcome.
Yeah, it was nice. Experience 10 out of 10. Went up in the broadcast booth. Those guys do an amazing job up there. They grind because there's no commercials. Like they're just streaming on YouTube. So I mean, it's for anyone that doesn't know, it's a 2-hour time limit. So 2 hours is all you got. So they're up there just nonstop, calling the games without any breathers. Like they've got. I think one of the cool things is like they had the Bananas starting pitcher. Once he was done starting, he just went up in the booth and like did a couple innings on the broadcast. Like it's just, I don't know. Like to Jay Hayes' point, it did feel like this like fantasy land of like this is how cool baseball could be, and it's not to knock MLB because that was one of the things that I asked. Like you guys are presenting a product that's almost like here's what's wrong with Major League Baseball and we're going to do it better. Like, so do you have a working relationship or are you good with MLB? Like, do they take offense to this? And I guess like they have a good relationship. So I was like, that's good. That's a good thing because I think the overall like attendance number, like they're going to draw 500,000 fans with this tour that they're on, and it's going to continue to grow because the demand is there. They're going to continue to do larger ballparks that have higher capacities. Eventually, the goal is obviously to play in major league ballparks. So you have to have a working relationship with these teams and the league to be able to do that. And I think it'll be electric once they get into these larger ballparks that have 30, 40,000 plus, because I think there's like it's almost like a band, right? Like you're playing like the smaller gigs. So you're going to have the fans that were like, I was there when you played that shitty ballpark in whatever, like some random town in Iowa. But then once you have these larger ballparks, you're going to draw in more people that are just like, hey, I heard about it. I don't know much about it, but I want to check it out. And then those people will come. So I just hope that once the ballparks get larger, that it doesn't lose that touch, because like they're playing music the whole game. So like fans are into it the entire time. And it's almost like you can't take your phone out because you'll miss something. Like they'll do like trick plays. I think they said like, it's like hundreds of trick plays throughout the course of the season. So, yeah, again, 10-10 experience. Highly recommend if they're in your town and you have the chance to go out and see the Savannah Bananas and the Party Animals. Definitely do that. But yeah, we've got some baseball news and notes to talk about. But this weekend, a bantamweight battle for the belt is going down during UFC 292. Aljamain Sterling and Sean O'Malley will fight for the title this Saturday Will the current champ keep his crown, or will the challenger, will it be his time to shine? Get your bets in on DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of UFC. New customers can bet just $5 to get $150 in bonus bets instantly. Joe, I don't know. Are you a UFC guy?
Vaguely. Sometimes.
You going to be tuning in this weekend? Just say yes.
I love UFC, man. I used to fight in UFC.
Did you really?
Yeah.
What was your record?
3-1.
3-1. Was the one loss your last fight, or did you start off slow?
That's where I fought Conor McGregor, who was really good back then. But yeah, then I killed someone in a punch, and they made me quit. But it was kind of boring anyway. But I think Sugar Sean is going to knock his ass out, because that's what Dallas says, and Dallas knows what he's talking about.
Yeah. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use the promo code Jared, Jared. New customers can bet just $5 on UFC 292 to get $150 in bonus bets instantly. That's this Saturday only on the DraftKings Sportsbook with the promo code Jared. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In Massachusetts, call 800-327-5050 or visit gamblinghelplinema.org. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In Kansas, call 1-800-522-4700. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, 21 plus in most eligible states, but age varies by jurisdiction. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources. Bonus bets expire 7 days after insurance, opt-in, and 10-plus leg requirement for 100% boost. Eligibility, wagering, and deposit restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/baseball terms. Man, if I could be as tough as Joe to be like, UFC was kind of boring. I just like beat people up and that was it. So credit to you for calling it a career after that. The Cubbies, I don't even know if I want to play the call. Like it's more of a visual, right? Like if you watch the Cubs last night, the Christopher Morel walk-off bomb, I'll still play it because I brought it up, but it was more the scene. Like you had to see it. It was a whole thing. He's going around the bases, taking his gloves off.
In the air, right field. That one back. Gone. Walk it off. And Morel is the hero here tonight as he sprints around the bases. Oh my! What a moment for Christopher Morel.
Yeah, who's playing this music? Where's the music?
It's a really good call, but like the visual is what makes it. Like Christopher Morel sprinted around the bases, 3-run walk-off home run to beat the crosstown Chicago White Sox. But he's basically half naked by the time he gets to third base. Helmet's gone, jersey's gone. Shout out to the fans at Wrigley because they were loud as fuck. Like Wrigley was one of the ballparks that brought in those new LED lights. So you've got the 4K cameras, you've got the light show, you've got Morel taking his clothes off, and you've got Wrigley packed crowd, sold out house, going absolutely nuts for the Chicago Cubs, who are now in a 3-way tie for that third wild card. Like it's nice to see a team that bought in at the deadline actually make forward progress and make it to a play. I think they're the only one, right? Like who else at the deadline that wasn't in a playoff spot that either stayed pat, didn't sell, or went for it is actually now in a playoff spot? It's just the Cubs, right?
Yeah, because the Orioles have stayed where they're at, right? Is the point. They were already in.
Yeah. They were already in.
Then you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. The Mariners sold and they're trying to get into a playoff spot. The Angels bought and they are like the worst team in the league. So the Cubbies, I feel vindicated. I threw a tweet out there that was like, and people were like talking shit on this tweet because I think that I can't remember. Did they play the Braves? When's the last time the Cubs played the Braves, Joe?
A couple weeks ago, they played the Braves. They beat them 2 times out of 3.
Yeah,
that's probably what it was.
It was mid-July. It was the first series out of the All-Star break.
Okay, yeah. So then I think I tweeted like, out of all the teams that are not currently in a playoff spot, I think I believe in the Cubs the most, and then the Braves beat them down. Everyone's like, "Oh, sick pick, dude. Oh, now the Cubs are cursed." Blah, blah, blah. Well, here they are in a 3-way tie for that final wild card spot. With I don't know, call it is it a quarter of the season to go? Feels like less.
No, there's 100. We're about 120 games into the season, right? So,
yeah.
40-ish left. Yeah, quarter.
Yeah. So you've got the Chicago Cubs, the Miami Marlins, and the Cincinnati Reds in a 3-way tie. Technically, the Cubs are ahead by 1 percentage point over the 63 and 59 Marlins and Reds. The Cubs are 62 and 58. But of those 3 teams, the Cubs, the Marlins, and the Reds, to get into that third wild card spot, how is it not the Cubs? How are they not? They have to be the favorite to get that third wild card spot now from this point forward.
Especially if you look at their schedule, they got 2 series against the Royals, 2 series against the Pirates, a series against pesky. Royals have been pesky lately, and they play the Tigers. Their schedule, I think, looking back at what I said about the Cubs, kind of questioning them trading, I think they looked at their schedule and said that's a great opportunity. And yeah, they're playing some pretty bad teams coming down the stretch. So I think they got the best chance. Fortunately, Stroman's, without Stroman, that hurts. Not to be a jerk. I know we're doing pro Cubs, but
I think they behave. I think one of the things we talked about was that they behaved like a big market team probably should, that is within reasonable shouting distance of the postseason, and they held / fortified a little bit with Candelario too, who's been fucking awesome for them. And it's good to see. I mean, to Jared's original point, it's when teams go for it, it's nice to see at least one of them be competitive / be rewarded for that. Also, as an aside, just because of last night's result, quick shout out to Javier Assad, who might not be able to take Marcus Stroman's place, but since late June, over his 12 appearances / starts, he has a 1.38 ERA. That included 6 and 2 earned last night. So he's been like fucking awesome for completely out of nowhere.
We're now joined by Oakland A's broadcaster, former MLB pitcher. You know him. You love him. Please welcome first name, last name. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. Good to be back. Great to be back.
I feel like we didn't really get that much shine before Dallas got back.
That's true. Yeah. Well, he said he was going to be like an hour and 15 minutes, and it was like 15 minutes.
Cut our
I think he made
short.
up the hour part.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie. This dude, the dude that just drove me here, if you could log his average speed on the trip, I promise you it was 85 miles an hour. We did not do less than 90 for 15 solid minutes. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. The trip that usually costs me, I don't know, like almost $100, only cost me about $62. And out of principle, I gave the man a $50. I handed him a $100 bill. So here, this is hands down the quickest I've ever gotten home from the airport here. I legitimately caught my wife, who was coming back home from dropping our fucking children off at school. I pulled up right behind her. It was beautiful.
Well, welcome to the podcast. You haven't missed much. We opened with the Savannah Bananas experience from last night.
Yeah, good times.
Great times. I had an awesome time. And we have now just begun our discussion on the now third wild card holding Chicago Cubs in a 3-way tie with the Marlins and the Cincinnati Reds.
Yeah, the fucking Cubbies. How about the bomb? I'm sure you guys talked about the bomb.
Yeah, we sure did.
I mean, has there been a more like that dude was outside of his mind and body running around the bases?
I saw a lot of people saying like, "Oh, what is this Game 7 of the World Series?" Fuck off. Like, you're just mad that your team isn't in it, or you're mad that you see the Cubbies coming and you're like, fuck, man, I thought they were dead. Now they're back. Like, you're either afraid of the Cubs or you're jealous of the Cubs. There's no in between there, because this team, no one had the Cubs being relevant coming into this season. Like, that was not a thought.
The idea that this dude hits a walk-off homer to send his team into the wild card conversation, not only into the wild card conversation, but if the season were to end today, blah, 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 the Cubs are there. They're right there. That is every reason to lose your shit all the way around the bases. Every reason. I'm glad he did it.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And a loss there would have been terrible for the Cubs. I mean, we're all giving the Cubs all this praise. If they would have lost that game, going down, 3 runs in the 9th inning, and they got swept, I guess, short series by the damn White Sox, we'd be like, why didn't she sell? But Christopher Morel. And for those people talking trash about his bat flip, have you seen this guy ever? Like, did you see his first major league home run when they were winning by like 7 runs? He hit a home run and fucking lost his shit.
I love him too, because his hot stretches are about as scorching hot as they get, and his cold stretches are about as ice cold as a baseball player can be. And it's just like all or nothing with him. And it was so cool when he got all of it last night. Especially he was like 4 for 39 with like 20 Ks over his previous 12 games leading up to that moment. So
didn't he hit like 12 home runs in his first 3 games or something crazy?
Yeah. He was on the short list for most home runs over X number of games within a season.
He came up this year on May 9th. In his first 12 games, he hit 9 home runs.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. He was hot. There was no one hotter than him. He was just launching by. He's specifically almost exclusively hitting home runs. But now, not to focus on the downside, but that Marcus Stroman news is noteworthy. It is a fractured rib for Marcus Stroman, and no return timetable. That is the key to that story. We don't know when Marcus Stroman's going to come back.
When did this just pop off? This just come out?
Yesterday.
Yesterday, yeah. Hasn't pitched since July 31st. He was on the injured list with a hip injury.
Yeah.
And now we are learning that it is a fractured rib. Those two things are not connected. Your hip and your rib.
No,
yeah, but how do you break a rib pitching?
Well, it could be like a stress fracture, right? It could be
Sale's done it.
It could be a combination of like an oblique strain that leads to tearing or leads to ripping like fucking part of the bone off. But as far as like break, like, I mean, if there's a break, I mean, that would lead me to believe that there's impact. But if it's like just a stress fracture or like something like that, like it could just be a matter of torque.
Yeah. Yeah. He was supposed to pitch last night. He was supposed to come back from the hip last night. So seems like the rib thing came out of nowhere. I'm just going based off of that report. But it was reported that he was coming off the injured list to pitch against the White Sox on Wednesday. So
yeah, that's brutal, because not only is that a breathing thing, but if there's any, if it is an intercostal, an oblique, or whatever like that, we know how long those can take, and we know how ticky-tack those types of injuries can be.
Yeah. So something to keep an eye on if you are a Chicago Cubs fan. But again, hasn't stopped the train. They're in a playoff spot. Go Cubs, go. Cubs, go. New York Yankees, Joe.
These guys again. I just go Cubs, go. It's a song that I was singing over the weekend. It's a funny song. Go Cubs, go.
That's a good song. That's a good song.
I didn't even know it was a song until this week, and I love it.
Yeah, it's a great song. What are your thoughts and impressions on the New York Yankees after playing them a little bit?
They are a very feisty little team, those Yankees, man.
Yeah.
They come at you with all the stops. They're not going to quit. They played every single inning of the whole series the Yankees played. Did they play well? But they grinded. They tried every single time they came to the plate to really try to get a run, a hit, and
try to get hits.
I mean, how many runs did they score?
Zero.
0 runs. No, 3 runs.
So they got shut out in back-to-back games, and they've scored 1 run in their last 25 innings.
Yeah. So the Braves are a good team. But as we've seen, if you've been following the Yankees, Judgy said it, Boone said it, there's a lot of season left. And I don't think this one series is an indictment on this team. I don't know about you guys, but
well,
it could be an encapsulation of this team.
Yeah, we could look at the broader scale here, and the Yankees have not been with that loss last night, in which they got shut out again against the Atlanta Braves. They are under 500. They are under 500. This is for the first time since 1995. The Yankees have been under 500 this late into the season. Like Derek Jeter was just getting called up for the last time. I think he got sent down after his first call up, but this was right around his final call up, in which he would stay with the big club for the rest of his career, his illustrious Hall of Fame career. The Yankees, by the way, are 44-52 in games not started by Garrett Cole, which I looked that up this morning because I was just curious. I mean, their record with Garrett Cole is not even really that good. It's 16-9. I would have wasn't there a run with Houston where they won every single game for like 22 straight starts or something like that?
Yeah, it was a pretty ridiculous run. But I mean, dude, 16-9 with a team that's performed the way they have. No, I mean, he's been every bit of the reasons why they've won those games, clearly. So there's probably been some performances in those 9 that they should have won as well.
I just, I mean, for Pete's sake,
guy just wants some run support.
That's it. That's all. Just
runs for Garrett. Hashtag runs for Garrett. What team? Where do you see Garrett Cole next year in terms of like what team do you think they're going to trade him to?
The hate is just unbelievable.
I'm not hating. I mean, if you're a Yankee fan, you're probably like, preach, dude. Like they got to blow it up. Like think about. And if you watch this series between the Braves and the Yankees, you probably come away with the same takeaway. I'm sure you're having flashbacks to 2021 when Aaron Boone said, we've got to be better because the rest of the league has caught up to us. What are you talking about? Like the Braves are the gold standard. And when you put the Yankees up against the Braves, what are some of the things that you notice outside of the fact that the Yankees can't hit to save their fucking lives? The base running. Like think about some of the things that the Braves can do on the base paths that the Yankees can't even imagine to be able to do. Like between DJ LeMahieu and Giancarlo Stanton, like Aaron Judge on 1 foot is a better base runner than a majority of the starting lineup. Like they can't go first to third. Like they get picked off at first base. Like they get thrown out on the base pass. They make stupid base running errors. They are slow as shit. Like that's where a Yankee fan tweeted me yesterday and said, how do you fix this team? And I said, brother, there aren't enough characters on Twitter. It's a broader conversation. And even Anthony Rizzo, right? Like who knows what Anthony Rizzo's future looks like in baseball, unfortunately. I don't know how would you answer that question? How do you fix it's definitely not a one off-season fix. Well, there's no Band-Aid signing. Like,
ask yourself,
you sign Lucas Giolito. That's just like the first. I'm thinking of like a top free agent pitcher, right? Like, I think he wants to be on the West Coast. So you go down the line, right? Like, they're not signing Shohei Ohtani. There's not like one singular move that they can make where it's like, all right, the Yankees are back, everything's fixed.
Well, Jared, you gotta ask yourself, what is it that the Yankees do well, or what is it that the Yankees do better? Do they develop talent better? Or are they better players of the market, in the market? What do the Yankees do better? And I think that's a legitimate question to ask right now, because
what's the answer?
I honestly don't know.
Yeah, because
I honestly don't know, because outside of when it came time to supplement your squad, what happened?
Right. Like even to it's gonna sound like I'm being a hater, but even like to the developing talent question, right? Like, can they even take credit for developing Aaron Judge? Like, he worked with a hitting coach outside of the organization to fix his swing and to become the guy that he is today. Like, I think they fell ass backwards into Aaron Judge. He wasn't even their first pick that year.
I mean, so again, if they're not going to develop talent, or if they have gotten lucky with one player over the last, I don't know, 10 years?
Yeah.
Then
look at Gary Sanchez. He's popping off with San Diego.
So
the Yankees were like, this guy doesn't have it anymore. Or you just didn't have the key to figure it out for him.
So then from there, if your biggest offseason acquisition in the last decade or so is Garrett Cole?
Yep.
So then what is the approach? Holy hell. Did anybody else just see that?
No.
A bird just flew into my office and then flew and then flew back out. Anyway, like if they're I thought I wanted to do. I was like, whoa. But if that's where we're at with the Yankees and questioning their ability to develop players, and we're also questioning their ability to make the right assessment, go and get the right guys in the free agent world, then what is it that the Yankees should do? I think, to your point about blowing it up, there's got to be a serious conversation about the direction of the franchise as a whole moving forward. What are we trying to do? Who are we? What is our identity as the New York Yankees? Because we're kind of stuck in the middle of not developing talent and not being able to make good on some free agent acquisitions. Like, we'll go and get one guy, but we haven't been that big bad empire of years past. But it hasn't stopped until I got a lineup full of guys that I didn't have on my team in the first half.
Yeah. Well, did you see that report, that guy saying that the minor leaguers aren't getting coached or whatever that was?
No.
You didn't see that?
Mm-mm.
There was a person, I was hoping that someone knew this because I don't know how I'll have all the details, but it was on Foul Territory. They were interviewing someone who was saying, I think it was a minor leaguer on the Yankees, saying like, everyone's about to get fired. We're not even practicing basically in the minor leagues. No one's being developed.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. Look, this all goes back to, and I'm so glad that it has been a part of the conversation, but this all goes back to culture. And the idea of
I got
the idea of not receiving coaching.
I got it right here. Hold on. I got it right here.
Ben Ruda is in the chat right now, who played in the Yankees minor league system recently. And he threw a few comments out there. I fully expect them to clear house in the minor leagues. All the coaches were brought in by Dylan Lawson and the analytics guys. Lawson's the hitting coach who was let go. They will change developmental culture back to old Yankees days. Keep in mind, I played in the Yanks org before analytics, 2016 to 18, and then after 18 to 20. Stark difference in developments. I asked for an example. He said, here's all you need to know. In 2020, before COVID hit spring training, we played a game called pitchers versus hitters. The only way to score a point was to walk or hit a ball 95 miles an hour plus. And there's no baseball being taught there anymore. No base running, moving runners, fundamentals, etc. Your thoughts? And have you heard of any dissension between what's going on there with Cashman going overboard on numbers and analytics guys, and then saying like, here's Brian Sabian, here's Omar Minaya, here's Sean Casey? It seems like there's a lot of shit going on behind the scenes. Ben Ruda.
So you know what that is right there? That is a statement that outlines what every major league player has been screaming and crying and yelling, trying to get the folks' attention when they're telling you that the game has turned into a glorified showcase. When you have major league organizations eliminating the idea of needing to execute fundamental baseball plays and replacing that and rewarding simple approaches, simple chasing the numbers games, hit a ball 95 miles an hour or harder. Great. What if you do that and it's directly into the ground and then bounces 4 times towards the shortstop. What did we get there? We got a hard ground ball. Sean Manaea's no-hitter against the Red Sox in 18, the hardest hit ball all night long was the last ball hit, a ground ball at 106 to Hanley Ramirez. What did they have to show for that? Not a goddamn thing. Hanley didn't get to first. Nobody got a hit. They were not rewarded. Why would you do that at a developmental level instead of playing the game of baseball? We're not at a point where we have figured out how to balance the information and the culture of the game. It's like people are almost refusing to realize that you have to marry these two and you have to find a happy medium. You can't just completely ignore data because that is a extremely valuable resource, an extremely valuable tool that helps you determine where your prospects are at, where they're going. They help you compare and contrast everything from body type, swing movement, launch angle, approach angle. There's so many different things that data provides that you would be an idiot to ignore. And on the flip side, there are so many things that the fundamentals of the game force you to learn that have to happen in the game of baseball, that if you ignore those, you are an idiot. So we have to figure out how to marry the two. And it seems like organizations are almost cannibalizing themselves in an effort to figure this out.
I mean, it would seem that there are organizations, though, that do have this figured out, right?
Oh, yes. Yes, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. That's what separates the 5 to 6 teams that we consistently talk about being players in the market and in player development, because they have figured out how to mine their own Bitcoin. We all understand how crypto works, right? That's what the organizations are here to do, to mine their own Bitcoin. You do that with minor league players, what do they turn into? They turn into resources that if you don't have room for them, they're now all the more valuable to you. Why? Because you've developed players that these guys can't even push off of their positions. So now these valuable players that are better than other organizations' players, you get to ship them off. And now you've got a whole lot of Bitcoin to play with. You're just continuing to churn out all of this crypto because you are a player development-based organization. You create the dollars that make the most sense when it comes to being able to maneuver in the free agent market. Here's prospects in return for this individual who, based on our models, we feel like we can unlock. We can, so like, yeah, here, if this is what you need, we've got a pitcher, we got a shortstop in AA, we got a whatever you need.
Joey, what's your take on it?
On the Yankees minor leaguers?
Yeah.
Well, the way that guy described it, that seems, like a little silly. I don't know much about player development. I think that if you're looking at the Yankees, I was thinking when it might be time for Theo Epstein to step in, or someone other than Cashman. I think if you're going to have a team that's at the top of the payroll, but they're still not making any, I don't know. Something's fucked up. They got to do something. That Cashman, I would fire him. That was, I don't know how to fix it. You trade everyone.
He's the longest standing GM in baseball, right?
He has to be. But you fire Brian Cashman, that's a sacrificial lamb. You can say he's not doing a good job, but it's like, well, they went to the ALCS last year. Well, they were there. They didn't win a game, but they were there.
But if there's going to be a culture shift, where would you have that start? Hal Steinbrenner? You want Hal talking to the boys?
No, you need Cashman out of there if you need a culture shift.
So that's why I asked, if that's the case, then where does it start? Hal, he's not going anywhere. We understand why. His name's on the check. From there, who's below Hal?
It'd be Cashman, but I don't.
So then does Cashman need a change of heart? Does Cashman need a refresher? Like what is it? Because if it's the culture and he's overseen that or has been a big part of that or hasn't done a good job of overseeing that to the point where whoever he's had in charge of that maybe needs to be addressed. I mean, that would just, as far as the natural flow of shit rolling downhill, if it's not Hal and it's not the general manager, then who's next? Minor league player development.
I just think that the Yankees' philosophy of we have to be World Series contenders every single year is detrimental to actually winning a World Series.
But who believes, like, honestly, who believes that anymore? Like, isn't that more of a shtick now? Like,
no,
because
I mean, they didn't sell. I mean, like, I understand they didn't have a lot to sell, but they could have made a, like, bit the bullet, eaten some contracts, like basically do a full reset, like what the Red Sox did in 2012, when it was like, hey, we fucking suck, and we've got players that may not be at their peak anymore, but let's move on from Josh Beckett and Carl Crawford and Adrian Gonzalez. Like, they'll still help somebody, but it's just not working out here. They blew it up. And I'm not saying that, you know, like, I think the Red Sox caught lightning in a bottle the following year to win a World Series. Like, not every team is going to blow it up and immediately win a World Series, but there has to be some sort of conviction of, all right, what we're doing right now is not working. And like I said earlier, it's not a one off season fix. So you have to make some sort of drastic move to say, hey, we're changing course here, and where we're going, it might take a little bit of time, but at least we have a plan. Because right now, I don't think they have a plan. Like, right now, it looks like the plan is to run it back next year again with everything still in place, because they haven't indicated otherwise.
That all goes back to my whole assessment of, do the Yankees even know who they are and what they want to do? Because if there's that complacency, Jared, then what that tells you is you've probably got folks in the room just looking around, maybe apprehensive about making a decision, so that job security is there. Like, look, if I don't, kind of like how I talk about managers having two lists to choose from on decisions to make, ones that keep your job, ones that would absolutely put you in line to lose your job. It might be a matter of that. Where, look, blow it up. I don't know. You know what? We're going to hang around. We're going to keep going this status quo. And until Hal comes down and tells me that I'm gone, this is the playbook. This is what we're going to keep running.
Yeah. And also, you know how much I love Judgy, but he's got to be careful now, because his quote last night after the Yankees lost, we're just a couple streaks away from being right where we want to be. I think it's just like Skip has said all year. It's right in front of us. I know that Aaron Boone has
you're
eaten
1.
bullets for
1%.
Aaron Judge. Yeah, like, Aaron Boone has eaten bullets for Aaron Judge, and now Aaron Judge, I think, is trying to return the favor and have Boonies back here. Not to say that he shouldn't back his manager, whatever. But when you start talking like the guy that Yankee fans are furious with, don't think that those arrows can't come for you now, because fans are pissed about how the team's performing. The fans are pissed at the direction the team is going in. And if you have the dude that you just gave $300 and however many $million to,
the captain,
he's the face of your franchise, the captain. Now he starts talking like the manager that everyone is furious with. Well, now they might start getting aggravated with you, and I don't think that that's a place that Aaron Judge wants to be.
So, is your assessment that a few streaks are not going to help the 1.1% playoff odds for the Yankees? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, I'm saying that no shit, if the Yankees haul off 10 straight, that it'll make things interesting. But at no point have they ever done that this year. And to go back even further, since July 5th of last year, they are 101 and 102. It has been
fairly balanced.
A year and a month of mediocrity.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all, by the way.
What?
That's their record.
Yeah.
Like, the Yankees have been that same level of just nothing. I don't know how, they went to the CS, but I still think that was like not even, that shouldn't count.
Yeah, they weren't there. They were there, but they weren't there. They showed up. That's about it.
And they had to beat
and maybe that even hurt them coming into this year. It's like, oh yeah, went to the ALCS. Yeah, dude, you got swept. Also, you barely got by a very pedestrian Guardians team. No offense, Jay, but like, that team could not fucking hit, and they almost lost that series. Like, they had to come back in that series. People forget. Guardians almost took care of business. Anyways, so to bring it on home to that fan who asked, how do the Yankees fix this? They're fucked. After all of our analysis and sifting through the what and the how, unless Jay, do you have an answer to that question? How do the Yankees fix this?
Actually, in the short term, I think it's just spending, probably, because you can't fix a player development pipeline that appears to be broken in one season, as we've outlined. And I don't know how to fix. You would need much more intimate understanding of how the Yankees are operating right now. As you know, we said with the Cashman conversation, does it start with him? Does it start below him? Does it matter whether it starts below him if he's overseeing everything? But I think I'm a little bit more optimistic on how close they are to competing in the AL East next season than you guys are. I don't think that's completely out of the question. They have two tentpole pieces who are as good as they come at their respective positions, and I think it's almost impossible for the supporting players to be as ineffective as the supporting players have been this season around those two. So I think like are we going to get back to the 18-19 run of 100 plus wins? Are they going to get back to the ALCS? Probably not for the time being, but I don't think the ceiling in the division with the other teams is so unattainably high that this team, we won't be talking about the Yankees as a potential wild card team next season.
I know how to fix them.
How do you fix him, Joe?
Jason Dominguez is a boss next year.
The Martian.
Won't be. He's a boss.
Is he?
As well, though, all like these little prospects, little young guys who haven't done anything for the Yanks need to outsource. Dominguez hasn't even gotten there yet. But if they actually, I mean, these guys are all considered very, top prospects. And the Yankees have had a top farm system for I feel like a while.
Even their farm system's mid. I think it's like 17th.
I think it's
not bad. That's not a bad place to be, but it's not like
I thought it was top
like,
5.
Oh my God.
I thought they're like top 5 in the amount of top 100 prospects, which is what I read.
That could be true. That could be true. I don't know. I know the system overall is not top 10 or anything like that, but that's not to say that they don't have guys down there. They do. So we'll see. Keep an eye on it. But if you're gonna head to Yankee Stadium this weekend for Sox Yanks, you got to bring your knock-around sunglasses. You absolutely have to. We got Yankees. We got Red Sox. Knock-around sunglasses. We're in the heat of summer. You need a pair of great shades that you don't have to baby. Knock-around sunglasses is the go-to for quality polarized shades that will not break the bank. Plus, they just released their first set of teams from their MLB official collection. They've got the Red Sox, they've got the Yankees, as well as official U.S. women's soccer team sunglasses. So you can get a little something extra added to your game day outfit for this summer's big games. Don't be the person that's squinting into the sun or worried about getting sand on their overpriced sunglasses. Check out knockaround.com for great looking polarized shades starting at just $28. And if you use the promo code ROCKET, that'll get you free shipping on your order. Again, that's promo code ROCKET for free shipping at knockaround.com. Oh, okay. Next up, the Doyers. The Doyers have won 10 straight baseball games. It's no surprise. It's no shock. We've talked about it before. We don't have to jam it down your throat. But the Dodgers have opened up with their 10-game winning streak here, a 10-game lead in the NL West. It is over. It's over. It's a wrap. Dunzo. The Giants, still a nice story. I feel like the Giants don't get a lot of love on this podcast.
Well, and there's a reason. There was an article written a while ago. Well, shit. What's today? Oh no,
today is Thursday.
Today's the 16th, or was it yesterday, or today the 17th? I don't know. I feel like it might have been.
Today's the 17th.
Okay, so I think it was written yesterday, but it does a good job of outlining and kind of comparing the success that the Baltimore Orioles have had since calling up Adley Rutschman and what Patrick Bailey has meant to the San Francisco Giants and their run of success. Because I have long talked about the catching position being the second most difficult position in pro sports behind an NFL quarterback, simply because of the responsibility that is on your plate before you even get to you as a player. You're in charge of 13 other dudes and how they perform. And then we'll talk about what you do offensively, defensively. And that's where Patrick Bailey has come and shown the fuck up and shown the fuck out, because the dude is second in framing runs, second in pop time behind Real Muto, who is just ridiculous. As far as catchers stealing runs, he's tied for first. Like, the dude has been every bit of what you want to have a young, pressure-filled position that is played to come up and have the impact that he's had. He's done a great job with the staff. I mean, what you get offensively at times, yeah, maybe a little left to be desired, but there's no doubt that the Giants have been able to lean on this dude, and he has had a huge impact on why they're playing the way they're playing.
Yeah, the Giants, I feel like for the lack of coverage that they get, they are in a playoff spot. Like they're
in the second playoff spot.
They're in the second wild card spot. Yeah. No one's giving them any love. No one gives them any attention. Giants fans, shout out to them. They'll still listen to the podcast. They'll get mad at us for the lack of coverage, but they're there. They are there. They're in a playoff spot, confirmed.
Well, I mean,
that's just
I feel
the reality
like
we're in now. With the extra wild card, you got all these teams that are just, you feel like, oh my God, what happened to the Giants? For a while, they were good. Now they're losing all these games. You look like, oh, they're the wild card. It's just going to be a bad versus bad to get into the playoffs.
Well, I mean,
the Giants aren't bad. They're good.
No, yeah,
they're good. They're just not someone that's on my radar to win a World Series this year.
But I think it will. I think, Joe, let me ask you. I mean, is it the idea that you can be playing like just kind of bland baseball, maybe not so great baseball, and then you win 4 or 5 in a row, and that does something in the standings, and now you're like, hey, yeah, look out for this team. They're playing good ball. I don't know. Like, I mean, the Cubs 6-4 over their last 10, and now here we are celebrating.
To the Giants specifically, though, like I've personally whatever, nobody cares about my online presence, but like some people have given me shit for like the Giants calling them boring or whatever, or not exciting. I mean, I think it's really as simple as looking at their lineup. And if you look at their lineup, they have no guy who has even an 800 OPS who's regularly starting for them, right? I mean, Wilmer Flores has started some games, but to call him a regular starter this season, I think is a little bit of a stretch. But he's the only guy that even qualifies, if you want to stretch the definition a little. Like, they don't have dynamic offensive players. Patrick Bailey is dynamic primarily for his offense, or for his defense. His offense is fine for a catcher, but he's not. That's not Buster Posey back there offensively.
No.
You know what I mean?
No, not even close.
And Wade Jr. is like arguably their most effective overall offensive player on the season, and that's mostly about on-base percentage. He's slugging .406. He's got 11 homers and 2 stolen bases. Like, it's just, you can be a good team, a good solid team, and be relatively unexciting compared to the 29 other organizations that play Major League Baseball. I don't think it's that ridiculous when you look at who's actually playing baseball games for them.
Do you give them any shot
to win a World Series?
To make a run? I'm not saying win the World Series.
Oh, I give them a shot to win a postseason series for sure. I mean, you've got Logan Webb at the top of the rotation.
Webb and
I can't believe
Alex
Cobb is as good as he is. Like, that, to me, the Alex Cobb renaissance is like one of the most surprising things that's happened in recent years, to me at least. And you have those two at the top of the rotation. I think you can win a postseason series. I'm just not convinced that you can win many postseason series en route to a World Series. Like, they basically have to win at least 3, if not 4 series as an underdog to win the World Series, right?
I think with teams like this, with teams like the Giants that are creeping into that conversation, into the postseason, I mean, they're the second wild card spot in the NL right now. So I think we have to really start to understand that there's a solid chance moving forward, at least in the first go round, we're going to see those series where you might have one or two guys in the rotation that you can lean on. From there, we're going to potentially see series decided by bullpen games. Who has a deeper bullpen and a more a bullpen that is more hardy? Meaning, do you have more guys that can bounce back day after day, maybe give you multiple innings, multiple days in a row? Like, because that's where it becomes nut cutting time. Postseason, what do we always say? You rest in the offseason. You can rest in the offseason. You take the ball in the postseason. And so whoever might be able to withstand that kind of outing or that kind of game, whoever has the bullpen that can come out on top in the war of attrition, that's what's going to matter. But it's just crazy to
the
think
Rogers
that we're there.
brothers coming at you at the back end of the pen.
Yeah,
You
fucking
don't
this
want the
this right here.
brothers.
You don't want them. Yeah, you don't want the Rogers brothers getting dialed up
What about
once the game's
Duval?
close.
Remember that big motherfucker in the playoffs in 21?
Can the San Francisco Giants be some semblance of last year's Philadelphia Phillies? Can they catch lightning in a bottle and get hot at the right time and surprise people?
To Jay Hayes' point, I just don't think that they have enough offensive pieces.
Yeah.
That's it. That's simply put. Like, because we're talking about what their pitching is going to provide them, which is an opportunity to maybe win a couple of these ball games. And I don't think we have those being 9-6 ball games. Those are probably, I don't know, 4-2 ball games. Maybe someone runs into a 3-run homer and you feel good about that. But they just don't have that. I mean, Wilmer Flores leads the team with 16 homers.
Yeah, that's
That's not what you need.
You know, like,
Also,
who's your guy?
I would
Jock.
also argue that with all due respect to Logan Webb and Alex Cobb, they are a touch below Nola and Wheeler too in terms of a 1-2 punch
Yes.
compared to what the
Yes.
Phillies
Yeah.
had last year. So I think
Yes.
that's another area that the Phillies would have, in addition to obviously the fact that one team has had Bryce Harper.
Yeah. And they also don't have Ranger Suarez, the secret weapon.
The secret web.
They
The
got
Lone
Luke
Ranger.
Jackson, so
Yeah.
he's
He is
kind
the
of a
Lone
secret
Ranger.
weapon.
Yeah. Put some respect on Ranger Suarez's name, by the way.
One final note on the Dodgers, though, that with their current win streak, they've now crested over a 600 winning percentage, and this would be their 5th straight season with a 600 or better winning percentage, which I just don't think, like, you really can't overstate how dominant that is. Just you go to the great teams of all time, the great runs of all time, and you just don't see many many
Jay,
examples of 600 or better over a 5-year period. And they've done it 6 of 7 too. So there was 1 year before that during the run as well. So what's up?
and they're doing it this year without 2/5 of their rotation that you can.
Yep.
I mean, one is a Cy Young contender and Walker Buehler. The other one's got Cy Young type shit in Dustin May, and neither one of those guys have been able to help.
And for his I think I recently compared the Dodgers' current run to what the Braves did in the 90s. And like even the Braves never had more than 3 straight seasons with a 600 or better winning percentage during that stretch. It's just,
Shout out to
you brought up the pitching staff, but they also let Trey Turner walk too, right? And it's like,
well, that's where I was just going to say, shout out David Peralta, shout out James Outman, shout out Will Smith. Like, these are guys like Peralta and Outman. I mean, Outman's done a great job just as a young guy, but I watched Dave Roberts plug and play the lefties against right-handed starters and right-handed bullpen guys, and those guys come in, they put great at-bats together, they deliver, they allow the flexibility. I mean, they're as quality of a roster 1 to 26 as you could hope for on a team not named the Atlanta Braves.
I don't know when the appropriate time to have this conversation is. Maybe it's the offseason, maybe it's before the playoffs, but like, I think at some point we have to discuss where Freddie Freeman and Mookie Betts rank on recent, or even not even that recent, all-time position player duos on the same team, because what they're doing this season is just
That's incredible.
It's astounding, and it's not the first season that they've done this. And I think they're both cases of like when you thought you saw maybe a guy who had crested as a player, and they just keep getting better and or not getting any worse. It's just, I don't know, man. They're both at 6+ wins this season. They're 2 of the 4 best players in baseball roughly this year. It's you don't see 1-2 punches like this very often, I don't think.
Also, before we move on from the Dodgers, there are a couple of notes there. ESPN Stats and Info had their August records over the last 4 seasons. 2020, they were 21-7. 2021, they were 21-6. 2022, they were 22-6. And now this August, they've gotten off to a 14-1 start. So August is the month where the Dodgers say, smell you later. Congrats on your dumbass picks for the NL West. If it's not us, you look like an absolute jackass. Yeah. Also, Freddie Freeman, Joseph. Freddie Freeman is on pace to break the Dodgers single season extra base hits record, which I want to say Cody Bellinger had a piece of. Yes. LA.
That's crazy, dude.
From
that wouldn't
Blake
come
Harris.
Close. That wouldn't come close to the Braves record. So just saying.
Well, I don't know what that is. What's the Braves record?
It's a lot more
bases?
than the Dodgers record. That's stupid. I don't know. Ever heard of Hank Aaron?
Blake Harris tweeted that the Dodgers record for most extra base hits in a single season is 84. That was Cody Bellinger and Sean Green. And Freddie Freeman is on pace for 94 extra base hits. So he's going to blow past that. The all-time Dodgers record is 94 by Babe Herman in 1930. But the LA record,
I'm sorry, I believe that's
is
Herman.
84.
It's Babe Herman.
Is it?
No, sorry.
It could be. I mean, it could be.
It's not. I'm sorry.
Babe. Could be Herman. Could be Herman. Babe,
with the
don't
mix-up
call
with
me
Gorman
Herman.
earlier this season, I just didn't want
Vincenzo?
Yeah,
Vincenzo Gorman. That was no mix-up. That was a
yeah.
That was just the real deal. Anyways, it's almost the weekend, Dallas.
It is almost the weekend.
That means you're gonna probably be popping the top on some blue moons, huh?
Pounding moons, Jared. Full moons, crescent moons. I like to pound all moons.
Yeah, you do. You do. And the playoffs are just around the corner. Speaking of the playoffs, Dallas, did you know that next week the Oakland A's could be mathematically eliminated from the playoffs, and it's only August?
That's that there might be some truth to that, but that's not etched in stone. Like that's not done. That hasn't happened.
It's not
yet.
guaranteed. It's not a done deal. It's not a done deal. But you know what is a done deal? The fact that me and Dallas, Joseph, Jay Hay, even Jake is probably the biggest blue moon guy on the whole show. We'll all be drinking some blue moons because playoffs are right around the corner. So it's time to help your team out by sticking to your lucky rituals, like the ritual of enjoying an ice cold blue moon while the game is on. Blue Moon was born in a ballpark, first brewed at Coors Field in Denver, Colorado. Make it your one-of-a-kind baseball tradition, whether you're at the park or watching from home. Had some blue moons at the Savannah Bananas game last night. Nothing goes better with banana ball or baseball than an ice cold blue moon with its refreshing flavor with Valencia orange peel for a subtle sweetness and hints of coriander. Blue Moon Belgian style wheat ale is a one-of-a-kind beer that's made brighter. It's carefully crafted and full-flavored with refreshing notes and a smooth, creamy finish. Blue Moon was brewed by baseball to give you a dose of nostalgia and get you excited for the new season. Why strike out with the same old beer when you can get something that's one-of-a-kind? Its bold flavor, bright explosion of color, and iconic orange slice ritual guarantees a one-of-a-kind beer experience perfect for spring weather. Best served with its signature orange garnish to showcase its beautiful, bright color. A beer this good only comes around once in a blue moon, but you can enjoy it all season long. Brighten up your baseball traditions with Blue Moon Belgian style wheat ale. It's one of a kind every time. Check out shop.bluemoonbrewingcompany.com for baseball merch and visit get.bluemoonbeer.com/rocket to find Blue Moon delivery options. That is get.bluemoonbeer.com/rocket. Blue Moon made brighter. Celebrate responsibly. Blue Moon Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado Ale. I keep forgetting that I have like a vintage Blue Moon baseball jersey. It's sick. But it's also like it's like that old school like wool material. So like I couldn't really bust it out in August yet, but like once it starts to get like that fall playoff weather, that's blue moon jersey time, baby.
Go moon with a little thermal underneath it.
Mm-hmm. Hate to bring this up, but the Orioles are 4-5 since suspending Kevin Brown.
What? That was only 9 games ago.
Mm-hmm.
That feels like 3 weeks ago.
Do you think that that was a vibe killer in Birdland?
No, not for the players. Or even the fans. I mean, even the fans, like, I was going through the foot, like, they're all, I mean, they like Kevin Brown. They thought it was bullshit, but it wasn't like, I think in reality, they like the splash zone. They like the homers. I don't think anyone's too pressed about the Kevin Brown situation. He's already said he's all good with it. He loves the owner. He said he loves the owner.
What if it's not about the fans or the players, but the baseball gods?
Could be the baseball gods you pissed off.
Might not.
That's real.
Matter.
That is real. That is real.
I'm gonna try and dial someone up right now.
He's around.
Let's see. He's available. Let's see if he answers.
Sir?
Hello. Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes. Yeah, we can hear you. I say we because it's me, it's Dallas, it's Joseph, it's Jay Hay, and it's Jake. And you are making your Baseball is Dead debut right now.
Do you know how long I've waited for this call? I've been staring at my phone for like months and months and years, just hoping and praying that this name would pop up.
Well, here it is. RDT over at Barstool, who covers the Baltimore Orioles, our O's, as we like to say. As me as a lifelong Baltimore Orioles fan, my fuck you, Dallas. That's true. My AIM screen name was C Ripken 2131X8. I collected Cal Ripken Jr. baseball cards as a kid. I didn't collect baseball cards. I collected Cal Ripken Jr. cards. We were actually just on the topic of the Orioles being 4-5 since the Kevin Brown suspension. And there's just a debate on whether or not the vibes are down. What's the vibe check in Birdland right now?
I don't think the vibes are as down as people think. I honestly don't think that situation carried into the players like heads at all. I really don't. It was a story everywhere they looked. It was going on, but it had nothing to do with them. It's all about their owner, which everybody knows they don't like. Nobody likes him here. So I don't think that has much to do with it. Again, I mean, they pulled out 2 gritty ass wins in Seattle. Right after, they got smoked the first game, but I don't think it had much to do with the Kevin Brown thing. I think they're just kind of tired and they're, they may be hitting a little bit of a wall, but luckily we kind of have hopefully a slump buster coming up.
Wow. Who are you guys playing?
Who is it? I don't have the schedule in front of me. I know it's a West Coast team.
Schedule.
Is it LA? No, it's not LA.
Okay. All right. I thought you actually didn't know who you were playing. You fooled me. It's who it is? I'll tell you right now who it is. It's one of the best, the 1989 World Series champion, Oakland Athletics.
That's right.
Oh yeah,
mm-hmm.
It's a good year.
Come and get
our birth year.
Yeah, it's our birth year. Yeah, Dallas. Any thoughts on facing RDT in the mighty first place Baltimore Orioles right now? They're kind of on a downswing.
Yeah, it's going to be a clash of the youth movement. I'll tell you right now, you're catching the A's at the wrong time, buddy. The wrong.
Yeah, they
time.
just wiped their ass with the 2011-2006 World Series champion St. Louis Cardinals.
Coming off a blanking of the Cards. Paulie Punch-Out. That's right, Jay Hay. Paulie fucking Punch-Out was dialed in, had
Is
8
that
of them
Paulie punch
things.
himself? Oh, wow.
Paulie Punch himself.
Paulie Punch-Out had 8 of them things over a season-high 7 shutout innings. You can go ahead and blow him whenever you'd like. Zach Geloff, that fucking guy. Are you ready for Zach Geloff? Are you ready for Zach Geloff?
We're talking
I don't
Lofty,
think you're
right?
ready for Zach Geloff. The only
is
ace
Luis
player.
Medina taking his 9.5 ERA into this one or no? Did they miss him?
No. Oh, you're going to see him. You're going to get Medina on the tit. Yep.
Oh, damn.
That's bad news for the birds, babe. Bad news for the birds.
Yeah, someone might get killed. Guys got no idea where that's going.
Geloff's fucking setting records. 20 extra base hits, 20 runs scored in his first 22 games or something like that. 28 games. Like nobody's done that since 1901.
Yeah, that sounds ferocious.
Yeah. Soderstrom dropping bombs. Buddy, you don't.
Backs against the wall, playoff
You don't want
hopes
this.
on the line.
That's right.
That's true, RDT. The Oakland Athletics, you have the chance to make their postseason chances dwindle down to 0 in the coming days. So they've got to win. Like the Oakland A's are in a must-win situation in this series.
The A's know about that fun little stat with Adley and not being swept. And look, like I said, you're catching the green and gold at the wrong time, coming home off a roadie that they're glad to be off of. All right, off day today. They're going to go off tomorrow and probably
be rested up
throughout the weekend. It's bad news, dude. It's bad news. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, that's tough.
Terrified.
Yeah,
I'm shaking over here. I'm shaking.
As you should be. I mean, that's just a tough spot to be in. Take me through like emotionally what this year has been like for you, because you're an Orioles diehard through and through. You're one of those psychos that sits there and watches 162 baseball games, even when the team is terrible, which they have been for most of your adult life. How has this year been for you watching the Orioles be a first place team?
I mean, I've been over the moon about them. It's been so much fun to watch because, like you said, they've just been dog water for the last 4 or 5 years. And baseball, I mean, we all know it's such a slow burn. It's not like football or you know, the NBA where you can draft a guy, you know, 1-1 and immediately he's helping your team. I've been banging the drum of like, just wait. It'll be fine. They're going to be good. The kids are going to come up and it's going to be kumbaya and it's going to be a lot of fun. And so now we're here, and I think a year earlier than expected. I think I was kind of just looking back at some of my predictions, and I think I said like 88 or 89 wins this season. They're going to pass that by like middle of September. Like, you know, they should zoom right by that. I think they're back on a 99 win pace, I believe.
Oh my God.
But yeah, I mean, it's been fun again, seeing all these guys come up and go through their struggles and then put on an absolute show. Mountcastle's been like one of the hottest hitters since coming back from vertigo. Like, go figure. The Orioles had to deal with that. He's been unreal since the All-Star break. Gunnar has turned himself into a household name. You know, the resurgence of Grayson Rodriguez, who Dallas, you got to see his first career home start.
Yep.
I think we saw that together. He's just a completely different pitcher now. He's awesome. And of course, Adley's Adley. Felix is Felix, and then again, we got these guys coming out of pretty much nowhere, like Ryan O'Hearn, who carried the Orioles for a couple of weeks. So in the lyrics of the song Orioles Baseball, they say every night there's a different star. That's the magic of Orioles baseball. And that truly is like what this season has been. Like, Austin Hayes had his time. Mullins was great. Even Aaron Hicks, you know, had a 2-week stretch where he was like Barry Bonds. So it's just been fun. Again, we're all just riding the wave, and, you know, now it's just like put everyone in bubble wrap, get me to October, and let's try and make a deep run here.
What's your relationship like with Adley? Because I think that's one of the more fascinating things about this Orioles season is that, like, you guys are besties. Like, when I was at the All-Star game in Seattle, like, I called Adley to come over to do like an interview for the red carpet video, and he seemed like, whatever. And then I was like, yeah, I know RDT from Barstool. And he was like, oh, all right, yeah, cool. And then he was all like happy to do it. Like, what's the deal with that?
Listen, you know, people know me. They know I don't like talking about it. You know, our friendship, our relationship. I really don't like to like flaunt it or even make it that public. But, you know, we've had nights where we've shared some drinks. We've been out late. I was told, quote unquote, please babysit him. And I think we both did a great job that night. It's just normal stuff. We're chatting on IG and he's tagging me and I think you should leave stuff. And, every time he's come on the podcast this year, he's hit a home run that night. I was told by a high-ranking Orioles official that night, too, the night that he came on, that you have to have him on every game now, which, I think we could figure that out. But, it's been a fun little thing to kind of watch. Again, we've graduated from me commenting, do you like crab cakes on like a 19-year-old's Instagram over and over and over and over. And then, here we are. I'm watching the All-Star, catcher have a fantastic year and lead the Orioles to still an unswept, series. And I think it's 78 series in a row now. So,
yeah,
that's great.
We just do our best friend stuff. It's not that big a deal. I really don't like to talk about it. He did tell me Baltimore was my town, which somehow that got caught on camera. And again, I really don't like talking about it publicly. So if your editor, your producer could please edit this out, that would be great for all of us.
Jay, cut that. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, it's good to catch up with you. I feel like as the Orioles go into the postseason, we'll have you cycle back in.
Hey, you let me know, and we're gonna try and we'll call you for our podcast, our little tiny one. We'll get you guys on there. But I appreciate the call. Again, it's been a dream. It's been a dream come true appearing on it, and I'm glad that the ban is lifted and we can continue our friendship.
Thank you.
And Dallas, I'll be sending some texts or some tweets, and I'm sure we'll mix it up the next couple of days.
Yeah, I'll be ready. You get them Twitter fingers ready, bud, because we're about to knock that cute little crown off of Prince Felix. And from what I understand, there's push brooms going on sale at the Home Depot in Oakland. So, Adley, fucking watch your back, pal.
Also, I would say to pimp your Twitter handle, but it's fucking outrageous. Like, you need to clean that up. Clean it up.
Listen. You know the details.
I know the backstory, yeah, but it's Elon's world now. It's X. You were banned in like the Twitter streets. X is like the purge. Like, you can get away with anything now.
We don't know. I don't know what we can get away with on there. I don't know. If only we had a friend in common who worked for Twitter or X.
That's true. That is true. Yeah, he needs to step up. But at the same time, like this Twitter handle, it's got to go. We need to figure something out.
That'll be my off-season project. That'll be my big off-season. That's what I'm going to work on in the off.
For the love of God, please. All right, we'll be in touch.
Thank you, boys.
See you later.
Later, brother.
That's RDT. Covers the Orioles for Barstool. Twitter handle is like fucking. It's E Diddy EDITTI 22. If you're an Orioles fan who's already not following him, he's been covering the Orioles for fucking ever. He's been out there in these X streets covering them birds. Okay. Last night, Shohei Ohtani, Dallas.
Showtime.
Shohei Ohtani hit his 42nd home run of the season.
Ohtani! Segoy!
Love it.
42. And then the ESPN Stats Info Twitter account said half of Shohei Ohtani's 42 home runs this season. You know how they do like the Would It Dong account, and it'll tell you like how many ballparks it'll be a home run in.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's a home run in only one ballpark, it's called a unicorn. What is it called if it's a home run in all 30? I feel like, Joe, you would know this.
A homer.
Yeah, home run.
But it's got to have a name. Like if it would only be a home run in one ballpark, then that's a unicorn. And if it's a home run in all 30 ballparks, that should have a name too. But anyways, half of Shohei Ohtani's 42 home runs this season would have been a home run in all 30 ballparks per StatCast.
Well, that's just because he barrels everything.
Yeah. I think it's like he must be second to Ronald Acuna Jr. in average home run distance?
Think so?
Has to be.
I would say Ohtani probably got that.
No.
No offense to Ronnie.
I'll tell you right now.
Ohtani is a big guy who hits big bombs.
Yeah, but Ronald Acuna Jr. had a run there where he was only hitting home runs that were going 450.
Yeah, just missiles. Opposite field bombs.
They're second and third among qualified batters in baseball this year in average home run distance. The funny thing is that Tim Anderson is first.
Tim Anderson? How far did his one home run go?
429 feet.
That's a good nugget. That's a nugget.
That's fun.
Miggy, the top four is just fucking beautiful. It's Tim Anderson, Ronald Acuna, Shohei Ohtani, and Miguel Cabrera.
Love it. Love it. Past meets
No
present,
way.
baby.
Yeah,
So who's
Statcast.
So it's Ohtani. Ohtani has further home runs than Acuna.
No, it's Acuna 424, Ohtani 422, according to this. For average home run distance, max home run distance, obviously Ohtani has the further home run, but
Yeah, I've got Tim Anderson at 428.9. He's number one. Ronnie at 422.4. Shohei at 420.1. And then Elias Diaz at 416.5. Yeah. Bryce Harper at 7. Yeah, there's some surprising names in there. Like Bobby Witt Jr. is 9th. Ryan McMahon at number 5. Yeah. Good to know. That's all I got. Do you guys have anything else?
Nope. Joe just wanted to, updating us on the on our jersey bet, where if Esty was able to catch Ronald Acuna, you were going to buy me a Raleigh Fingers throwback Cooperstown jersey. And just to update you, Esty is at 48 stolen bases after missing more than a month, and Ronald Acuna Jr. is at 55. So just wanted to remind you not only of the bet, but just an update numerically where we were at in the pursuit for Esty.
I got you. Doesn't surprise me. He's the better player.
No. Not necessarily the better player. Not necessarily the better player. Better base stealer. I think that's going to be decided.
What's his average home run distance, Mr.
He just hit a bomb the other day. I mean,
but what's his average distance?
For a leadoff?
397, it looks like.
Yeah. So he's
397.4. Good for 63rd in baseball. Just under, actually tied with Cody Bellinger.
There you go.
Damn, more pop than belly.
Old belly barrels.
Same pop.
Little small SD. Little tiny
they call
SD.
him SD exit velo. That's what they
actually, you
call him.
know who he's just above?
Let me guess.
Freddie Freeman.
Wow. Freddie
397 for Freddie. 397.4 for Ruiz.
I think we're finding out a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, it's glaring. Interesting. Jay, final thoughts?
Sure. Got a little bit of things to work through here. Bryce Harper, first multi-homer game since June 3rd, 2022. Good to see him back in the multi-homer game. You know, we've all dumped on the Tigers, so want to give Riley Green some love because since he came back from injury, he has slashed 331, 379, 570. That's good for a 949 OPS over 32 games and 132 plate appearances. So maybe that elite prospect of theirs who's actually clicking at the major league level. That would be cool to see. Blake Snell, 6 innings pitched, 2 earned last night. Pretty pedestrian for him, but it extends his amazing streak. He has a 1.29 ERA over his last 16 starts, which dates back to late May. Over the last 5 years, the only pitchers with a 16-start stretch with lower ERAs are Jack Flaherty and Hyunjin Ryu in 2019 and Dylan Cease last season. Shout out to, Dallas brought him up, so I want to make sure that he got his love. Tyler Soderstrom, a.k.a. Club Soda, as they like to call him, red hot. Dallas said he was popping bombs. 2 homers over his last 11 games. So somebody cool him off, Club Soda. And then a couple of series, one in particular over the weekend that I think is worth calling out. There are a lot of good ones, like I count half a dozen that are eye-catching. But the one I wanted to call out for sure is the D-backs Padres, because if you look at postseason odds, they're at 24% for the D-backs and 25% for the Padres. If this goes extreme in one direction, aka one team sweeps the other, it could kind of be lights out for that team. So I think that is the one series this weekend where I think a team could really see themselves devastated. The other one is Blue Jays Reds. If the Reds were to get swept, they're at 27%. So a couple things to watch there.
Okay, so I just as a stats guy, you have a guy in Zach Geloff who has done what he's done. 20 extra base hits, as I said, 20 runs through his first 28 games, and you choose to overlook that and talk about the second home run that was hit.
That's weird. I didn't overlook
I just want day. I want your day to get better. That's all I want your day to get better.
You want mine to get JJ Bleday day is what you want. Yeah. But by the way, if we're talking home run distance, is ahead of Mookie Betts.
JJ Bleday. So now you're making fun of a guy who had a season-ending ACL injury. Wow, Jay,
I'm not making fun of him.
You are having
the Geloff thing.
It's like
day. It's
That's
like
tough.
You already provided.
See what happens when you don't get child care?
I was trying to shine a little bit of love on Club Soda, and for some reason you take it personally.
It's actually the Sody of SWAT is what is
the Sody of SWAT. I think mine's
the
better.
Sody of SWAT.
I think mine's better.
Sody of SWAT.
Last time I ever shined some light on that's for goddamn sure. Jeez, 2 homers, 11 games. Thought that was pretty cool. Yeah.
No, I don't think it was delivered that way.
All right. Well, then maybe I'll just add to it because he's got a 147 batting average and a 569 OPS over those games too. So maybe that's more to your liking. I don't know.
Well, in games that he's hit a home run, have you done that math?
There are only 2 of them.
Oh, yay.
Well, he's
some call it a small sample size.
2 for 4 in those games. He's doing
okay.
Well,
What's a 500 batting average with 2 homers? So,
wow.
Yeah.
Don't look at the games in between. Cover your eyes.
Hey, baseball. We look at baseball in segments here, Jay.
Yep, 3 for 30 in those games.
We look at baseball in segments here. That was not lost on me. Dallas, do you feel calloused at all just from the beatdown that you've been taking this year, like pretty much since day one of the season? Like I feel like this is
Jared. I was numb. I was numb in June. Numb.
Yeah, like hold on. All right, so it's our 7th year of podcasting together. I would say that this is ironically the happiest Dallas season that we've gotten, but it's probably the worst year of your professional career.
Easily. Like I couldn't even begin to describe what this year.
How do you connect those dots? Can you walk me through the mental, I guess, path that we've taken here?
What do you mean? Like
logically, how does the worst year of your professional career equate to the happiest that you've been? Because I feel like we've gotten happy Dallas this year.
Oh, well, I'll be totally honest. Because it became apparent early that things were not going well for the club. And so you can shift gears early and start to look at other areas outside of the win-loss record and player development, future. Now you get to shift gears and you're looking at other teams. You're looking at what other players are doing. So the idea that I was going to experience heartbreak at a later point in time, that was off the table. Like I said, in June, that was off the table. So just sort of a carefree, let your hair down approach to the rest of the season. Pretty simple.
Wow. Proud of you. That's called growth.
It's all,
yeah.
It's all I can do.
Yeah.
It's all I can
Major growth. Joseph, final thoughts?
I'm going to have to go with Mad Max Medina for my final thought. He has a 3.38 ERA over his past 6 games for the A's.
Always love some A's love. It's what makes the world go round. Jake's takes.
I'll be down at Yankee Stadium this weekend. Just
you're going?
Checking in on the team. Just trying to figure out what's going on. They do happen to be playing the Red Sox, so that's a bonus. But I'll be back on Monday to report my findings.
My findings. Yeah, let me know. We got a lot of we got Yankee fans that listen, and they want to know what's wrong with their team. How do we fix this?
You gonna bring a radar gun?
Yeah, I could bring one.
Yeah, bring a radar gun. Where are you sitting?
Friday, I'm going to be in the bleachers, and Saturday, I'll be right behind home plate.
Ballsy, Jake. Going out in the bleachers with the bleacher creatures, bro.
Yeah, it'll be a fun time.
Oh, that was one of my favorite bits. Somewhere around 2019 when I went to Yankee Stadium, and they would just chirp me for where I was sitting. And then every time I would go to where, you won't sit out in the bleachers. And then I would go there. And you won't come out to fucking left field. And then I would go there. You won't sit behind home plate, bro. So just be careful out there, because they will threaten to make you move your seat to somewhere else that you will actually go.
I'll sit wherever they want me to sit.
It's a team player, Jake. It's a team player. All right. Enjoy your weekend of baseball. We will be back on Monday morning with another episode of Baseball is Dead. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you then.
Wow.